We're going to transition from high school sports to the college scene. Just another little step up. Of course, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference is coming to Atlantic City. The MAAC tournament this March at Boardwalk Hall. And they're also doing a great job of helping out in the community in Atlantic City. That started yesterday. And joining us live on the Boardwalk Honda hotline, Katie Smith, WNBA legend, Hall of Famer. She was there in Atlantic City yesterday, and she joins us now. Katie, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Glad to have you on board. First of all, kind of talk to everybody about how did you get involved, with the Metro. This is really not easy. I was going to say MAAC. The MAAC is doing the community. They've been doing this for 26 years. So how did you get involved in it this year?
Yeah, the double MAAC. So no, I know the commissioner, Rich Enzor. I've met him through an event we did in Belfast, another tournament that really involves the community. So we've somewhat become friends and he's a little bit of a mentor. And obviously he's the commissioner of the MAAC. And so he's talked about the Atlantic City, about the tournament, the men's and women's basketball tournament of the Metro Atlantic Conference heading to Atlantic City. And just the engagement piece that goes along with it, right? Not only engaging the fans to come to games, but also connecting with the youth and trying to give some incentives and allow them to go into schools so these kids can kind of see, feel, touch, what's going to happen, not only the basketball-wise, but college athletes and college in general. So it's just a piece that, for me as an athlete, we used to do, and it's so rewarding to get out in the community and talk to people who are like you, who literally are sitting in the same seats as you, and, you don't know where life is going to head or what you're going to be able to do, but dream big and work hard.
Talk a little bit about what yesterday was like with the Monmouth women's team, yourself, and the kids over at MLK.
Yeah, it was a blast. Monmouth, I'm learning a little bit about, the East Coast and the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, because I'm from the Midwest. So, for me, it's learning. But Monmouth, to meet their players, I'm always excited to meet the student athletes. And then one of their staff members, Kamiko Williams, I actually played with and coached with the New York Liberty. But we really just had an assembly where they got to understand that the tournament will be in Atlantic City. Second of all, they got to have a question and answer with the players and ask them the questions they wanted to know. And then we got to bounce around to some of the third, fourth, fifth grade classes and just interact. They had the mascots. Again, you just want to spark something in these young people so that they are like, man, you're thinking outside the box and thinking bigger. But it was such a blast. The teachers, the principal just did an amazing job of just opening their arms to us, and the kids were phenomenal.
I think that's the big word you just used was spark. A lot of times people overlook the importance of community outreaches like this because it's an opportunity for not just the students but also the people who are involved to to really step out of their own comfort zone in some ways and really touch somebody else, and in that way it can be very rewarding.
It is, and when the student athletes, the young ladies from Monmouth got up to talk, most of us are a little uncomfortable being in front of people to talk, and let alone some 8th graders, 7th graders. That's a tough thing. But again, the student athletes, myself, we're all sitting in those seats listening to people over our years when we were in school, assemblies and different occupations, and little things stick in your head about those experiences, whether it's like, man, I can do that. I can go to college, or I want to be, a basketball player. I want to, so it's just whether it's one person that takes something away from it, but it's just important. And I know the Metro Atlantic, Athletic Conference does a great job of not only, yes, Atlantic City is going to be an amazing place to host a tournament. I mean, it's a destination spot. You can walk, there's food, there's everything that's going to be there. But on top of it, the community is going to be huge, and to kind of allow people to see a dream or think that, man, I could do that one day is unbelievable, and something I think the student athletes, and I know myself, it almost feeds our souls as much as it does anybody else.
Katie Smith joining us on the Boardwalk on the hotline on 97.3 ESPN, Basketball Hall of Famer, WNBA legend. She's working with the MAAC as they are helping out in the community. They're reaching out to those in Atlantic City ahead of the tournament. That's March 10th to the 14th in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall. And Katie, speaking of the tournament, Atlantic City, they used to have the A10 tournament back in the day. Now we got the MAAC coming to town. So what can people expect to see from this tournament in March?
I think it's a conference that's has a lot of parity on the men's side. The women's side, there's Marist and Quinnipiac that's kind of been the front runners in the last for a while now. And who's going to kind of take that? Monmouth finished fourth last year, so you're going to see some great basketball. You'd love for the fan bases to come out, but it's going to be it's March Madness, right? It's the start of it. It's a place you can watch other tournaments. You can spend time watching your teams, your conference, and then enjoy the beach, everything. It's just going to be. I love it. Esports is going to be there as well. There's going to be a tournament. They have the mac and cheese competition again. So there's a fan fest. I don't know if anybody's been to the Final Four and all these things where there's an interactive space where people can, shoot hoops, do all kinds of fun things. So I just think they're doing an amazing job to make it a celebratory, a party atmosphere of come on, come by, walk around, eat well, watch amazing basketball, and then just enjoy the city.
Also, not specifically about the MAAC, but I wanted to ask you a general question about the state of women's basketball, because I feel like the sport in general has really evolved and grown in a way that I'm not sure a lot of people expected it to. Not just in the last 20, 30. Everyone likes to put these big platitudes on how many decades are in between, but I would say even the last 6 to 8 years, it feels like the WNBA and the women's game in general has really exploded in many ways.
What the talent is unreal, right? I mean, you do have the talent's been there. I think social media, I think the ability to see these players and their personalities, they're basically sharing their lives, their personalities, their likes, dislikes on social media, so people can really get to know these young ladies. So the basketball is there. I think the media coverage, their ability to kind of promote themselves in a way and their teams, it's just so much more interactive. I do think there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are pushing it and trying to find ways. We have a new commissioner for the WNBA. But I do think it's important, and I think people are doing a really great job, but I think there's a long ways to go for us to continue to grow it. And to go back to the Give Back Day is we want young girls to stay active and be in sports, whether it's basketball or not, but you want them. You got to get them at that level, because most of the players that are in the WNBA now have always watched it. They never knew anything different, which is unreal, because when I grew up, it didn't exist. But I think the talent's unbelievable. I think their personalities are showing through. The likes, dislikes, they're from all. You can attach yourself to any of them, because they all have something that you can lock in on, where they're from, what they like, and it's just a really cool to see people kind of navigate to it.
Yeah, you mentioned WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. She's actually from South Jersey, so there's a little connection there for the WNBA in our area as well. She was actually on our station a few months ago with Billy Schweim, so it's glad you brought her up there.
Yeah, she's great.
Katie, before we let you go, and I appreciate your time here, just give the audience an idea of what you're up to aside from helping out with the MAAC now.
Yeah. So I just finished 2 years as the head coach of the New York Liberty, after playing a good stint and trying to figure out, may still end up in the WNBA coaching here this season, not sure in what role. So I'm going to keep going in the coaching world. So, that's kind of the to be determined at the moment, but just kind of in the coaching business, trying to navigate that. So we'll see where I pop up here this next year.
Again, we remind folks that the MAAC is coming to Boardwalk Hall this March 10th through the 14th. And, of course, the 26th annual MAAC Gives Back Community Outreach. They began yesterday in Atlantic City, and each month they will be working in the community in Atlantic City. Katie, appreciate your time on Saturday morning.
Hey, thanks, you guys.